Right, so we shall begin. Today we'll be looking at listening test. I'm sure this is your first time in IELTS. Do you even know the meaning of IELTS?
I know it has to do with English proficiency
Test. Tell me, what's the meaning of IELTS?
I can't remember.
You can't remember.
I know you said the full, like, 2 classes back.
Okay. It means International English Language Testing System.
It's the TS that was my problem.
International English Language Testing System. So basically, IELTS test has 4 testing areas. We have the listening, we have the listening, reading, writing, and then of course we have the speaking. So today we shall begin with the listening test. So the listening test is the aspect of the IELTS test that assesses your ability to listen to an audio by a native English speaker and then provide missing information based on what you are able to hear. The listening test requires you to pay attention, 101% attention and concentration, 101%. So if you are here, don't think of that client you want to meet him. By the time you come back, you have missed answers. If you're here, do not think of that funny joke or that business idea before you return from that thought. Answers must have passed you by. And listening test can be likened to a flowing stream. What happens when you go into a flowing stream? When anyone that flows past you is gone, right? It never comes back. The same thing applies to listening test. When the audio begins, if you are unable to catch any part of the audio, forget it, it's gone. If you don't get to hear an answer when the audio is playing, forget it, it's gone. It's not played twice. The only thing you can do is try to guess. You might guess and guess right. But don't make the mistake of pausing your concentration because you want to think of what may have been said as question number 2. If you do that, the audio keeps playing, so you're missing more answers. Because even by you pausing your concentration and attention, will not still guarantee that you remember what was said. It's not possible. You are not the person that did the conversation. So you must focus 100% when you are taking on your listening test. Now, during your listening test, you must do 3 things at the same time. If you fail to do any of these guys, you miss an answer. What does this mean? During your listening test, you must read, you must listen, and you must write at the same time. So normally, when the audio begins, the narrator will tell you, section 1, you would hear a discussion between 2 friends talking about your academics. First, you have some time to read questions 1 to 5. You are required to read. But before you start reading, you must have listened to the instruction, right? That's the directive. Then you begin to read. What do you read? You need to read that short area or passage or story or whatever information where you need to provide answers to questions 1 to 4 as the audio has, as the narrator has given you. So you are required to read that particular section. You have to read it to know what to expect from the audio. If you don't read, if the audio begins, you may find it difficult to identify where the audio is talking about. So when you read, you have prior info of what to expect from the audio. So when the audio begins to play, you are what? Listening. And you don't just listen. You also need to listen and still read along, so that you will be on the same page with the audio. When the audio is talking about section 1, you also should be looking at the words of section 1. That means you are reading with your eyes and listening with your ears. So when you are reading and listening, when the audio says the information or the answer that you need for that question number 1, you do what? You write. If you try to pause or hold on for the audio to end, that first section, questions 1 to 4, if you're waiting for the audio to end, then you write. As the audio is ending, you are also likely to forget everything that we have said. So it is highly advised that you need to write while the audio is playing. Do you understand? Now, during the listening test, there are certain factors that you tend to battle with as a non-native English speaker. There are things you begin to battle with. Because as a non-native English speaker, you have your own native language. Even if English is your lingua franca, that is your official language, it doesn't still make you a master of the language, because you have your own default language. So, if for instance, as if you are a Nigerian and you do more of the NTA news, this is the news at 10. My name is Cyril Stuba. First are the news headlines. They will use, Cyril Stuba will use his own native English tone to read the news. So, of course, you don't have anything to stress your ears for. You will understand, because Cyril Stuba reads at a very slow pace so that he will choose his words, so that he won't make mistakes on a live television, right? If you also dwell so much in the man don't come, don't carry the pikin, I go to the ritual, police don't catch up, everybody now they cry, grab your copies now. If that's the type of movies you watch often and on, then listening test will be a little bit of a challenge. Because of course, you know that when you are watching the regular home movies, you get to hear pidgin, the pidgin English, the broken English. You get to hear some good English, but not the crisp English. You also get to hear some vernaculars, native languages. In the movies that you watch, they are not what you should engage yourself in if you want to prepare to pass your listening test. So to pass your listening test, you need to have built the habit of listening to BBC News, CNN News. These are platforms where you get to build your listening skills. You need to listen to English podcasts. These are platforms where you would have to build your listening skills. Because I said earlier that when you're taking your listening test, you battle with a number of factors. These factors would be the pronunciation of the native speaker. You would have a little challenge with that. This would be the enunciation of the native speaker. You get to have a little challenge with that. Another would be their accent. You get to have a little challenge in their accent. Then lastly, you have issue with the pace, the speed of their spoken English. You see the way I speak, I'm not fast. I need to choose my words so that I don't bug out, right? So that's because I'm not a native speaker. I have my own native language. But the native English speaker have no other language. The native English speakers they speak the English. It is their own native language. So they just flow, right? So because we also are engrossed in our own native language, then English comes in as an official language. Our native language will always counter the existence of English. That's why when you are speaking, you tend to have some accent of your native language. The Igbo lady will tell you, my name is Erinda, Erande de Rigos from Orondo. That's it. The Yoruba person will tell you, I went to church. Everybody was just shouting. My heart started hurting me. That's the Yoruba one. Hausa will tell you, Kai, my brother from the north is coming. Everybody, Kai, listen, everybody. That is their own native. They're speaking English, right? But when you listen, you get to hear the interference of their mother tongue. So those are some of the things that cause the factors we tend to battle with when you are undertaking your listening test practice. So what do? You need to watch the news being broadcasted on CNN, BBC. You need to listen to podcasts and any other platform that would allow you. Movies, foreign movies, basically. English movies, basically. Not English movies with subtitles or, when you're watching movies with subtitles, your concentration is on that's in the right, so that you catch up. Right? But if you really want to improve on your listening skills, watch movies, English movies without subtitles. So you know that you are just watching and you are listening. Okay, the listening test lasts for 40 minutes. Within this 40-minute period, you would have to answer 40 questions. 40 questions. And these 40 questions are divided into 4 sections. And each question carries 1 mark. Do you understand that? The listening test has 40 questions, which you get to solve under 4 sections. And you take on this listening test for 40 minutes. Then each question you answer carries 1 mark. In listening test, we have these important keys, which we call the 3 T's. These 3 T's would be trick, which is also known as the bracket trick. Then we have tips, and then lastly we have techniques. Now shall begin with tricks, or trick rather. What does the bracket trick mean? The bracket trick is the practice. Do I take that again? The bracket trick is the practice of putting in bracket a part of your answer that you're not sure about if it should be there. Taken? Now, how do you apply the bracket trick to your answer? The application of bracket trick works hand in glove with instruction. The application of bracket trick works hand in glove with instruction. So you need to always ensure that you adhere strictly to the instruction. Only then will the application of bracket trick be considered to be correct. Let's take for instance, here is one of the templates of instructions you get to meet during your listening test. Here the template says no more than 1 word and or a number. no more than one word and or a number. How do you interpret this? No more than one word and or a number. What does it mean? If I ask you, please, could you interpret this instruction? What would you say?
Not more than one word. No more than one word. And or okay, what it means, my interpretation would be that it should be not more than one word. Or it should be a number. One word and a number.
Thank you. I forgot to respect ladies first. Pardon, I won't forget again.
Please forget.
So how will you interpret this instruction that says no more than one word and or a number?
So I think it means, let's say, if you have your answer sheet or your question paper, there's going to be a slot for you to put in your answer. In that slot, you can only put in one word. For instance, maybe the word is come. You can only use come, or maybe it's supposed to be like a number being a year. You can only pick 1 year or something and put in.
All right.
A number, sorry, come again with that.
How would, okay, he didn't get your explanation?
So I said, I think my own understanding is no more than one word and or a number. Okay, 2 ways. So no more than one word, it means in the slot you can only put in one word. For instance, instead of putting, if I put to come, it doesn't count because those are 2 words. So it's either I put to or come. And then the number, I can't put 7 and then I put 8. I can only put 7 or 8.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. So,
but then that part that says and no more than one word and or a number,
yeah,
means I could have come and then have like a number as well. But I can't have 2 words and one number or 1 word and 2 numbers or
right.
something, depending on the question.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You see, this is what lawyers face to interpret law. Right? Okay. When you have any section that says no more than one word and or a number, what it simply means is your answer can be written as one word answer. That's what this instruction means. Now, the emphasis is do not write beyond one number. Alright? So let's understand how then can we apply the bracket trick if we have understood this instruction. So to apply the bracket trick, if for instance, I'm going to run a model, please, I will need you to listen attentively. I'm going to run a model, an audio model, so please listen and get your answer for whatever I'm going to say. Alright. Section 1. You would hear a discussion between 2 friends talking about your inability to catch enough sleep. First, you have some time to read questions 1 to 4. Hi, Stanley. Hello, Tiola. How are you today? I'm not very well. I have not been able to catch enough sleep for some time now. What's the problem? Well, recently I noticed that some birds came around the tree just beside the window to my bedroom, and at night they make a lot of noise singing around the tree and building lots of nests, and I got to realize, because I noticed something quite remarkable about what the birds were doing at night. I noticed that the birds, you they usually team up to build their nest. And it's usually quite a wonderful exercise to behold. And this usually draws my attention and eventually keeps me awake at night. You know, the audio has faded. Your question. According to Stanley, the birds often collaborate to construct their dash. According to Stanley, the birds often collaborate to construct their dash. Tilda, ladies first. Just started. What is your answer?
Nest.
Nest. Please spell.
N-E-S-T.
N-E-S-T. Thank you so much. Can I have the mic? Chief, what can I call you?
Elvis.
Elvis. Okay. What is your answer?
It's nest.
Nest. The same spelling?
Yes.
Alright, thank you. This says no more than one word, is that correct? And this is one word. Very perfect. Following the instruction. Now, in listening test, what you're being tested on is your ability to listen to a native English speaker who says or gives a lot of information from where you would get the missing answers to the questions on the question paper, right? And whatever you get to hear, you may not be 101% sure of the pronunciation, right? But you might be, to an extent, to a large extent, you are familiar with that word. So, but you may be having a little doubt about the form of the word. Now, according to Stanley, he observed that the birds usually collaborate, team up to build their nest, and it's quite a wonderful thing to behold. And then you wrote nest. Writing nest under this category of instruction is correct. But I tell you, you may be very incorrect. Do you understand this? Writing nest is correct, but you may be 100% incorrect. The birds usually team up to build their dash. Nests. With an S. Right? Why do you want to put an S?
Because it's a plural.
Because it's a plural pronoun,
Yeah.
right? Meaning it's talking about their. Huh? So you may now wish to write next. Right? Now, writing this is one word, and it's very correct, but still could be 100% wrong. So what do you do? The bracket trick needs to come in. So what do I write? I'm going to write my nest and put my S in bracket. Do you understand this?
Perfect.
So what does that mean? If my examiner wants the nest to be in singular, I have it there. If they want the nest to be in plural, they take the S which is in bracket. Do you understand? So if you actually write nest singular and what they want is nests, you know this answer is incorrect, right? You didn't hear correctly. If what they want is singular nest and you wrote nests, it's also incorrect. It means you didn't hear properly. So bracket trick needs to come in. Please, do we understand this? All right. I'm going to run another model. I'll need you to pay attention to. Section 3. You would hear Professor John giving a talk to a group of students about honey. First, you have some time to read questions 21 to 25. Hi everyone, my name is Professor John. I'm going to be taking you through an important discussion today. I would like to school you through a particular natural resource or resources which we get from honey. Well, it will interest you to note that the dermatologists, that is people who are experts in anything that has to do with the human skin. The dermatologist often advise anyone that is faced with the incident of fire or hot water burn or oil to always apply honey, because by the time the injury or the accident heals up, the application of honey will help to clean up the scar. It will be hardly impossible to identify. Also, a lot of medical experts would advise patients who are diabetic to consume more of honey rather than the commercial sugar. And this is proven because irrespective of the sweetness of honey, it does not increase your sugar level. So, they are often advised to apply honey in their food rather than taking the commercial sugar. And for people who are always faced with cough, off and on, it is always advised that they apply honey in the hot water they take morning and night, because honey contains very strong antibiotic. So it will help to soothe and also take away the cough. Lastly, for people who have businesses that have to do with baking, they are often advised to take more of honey as their sweetener rather than using cake icing and other commercial sugar. Now the question is, I would love to ask you students, where do you think honey is gotten from? Does anyone know? Well, it will interest you to know that honey is gotten from a particular insect called the bees. And if you want to know another further question, you can use an audio feeds. Question. Ladies first.
Gentlemen.
Ladies first. Have you ever seen anywhere on the wedding card written Elvis married? It's never happened. Okay, so my question is, according to Professor John, honey is gotten from dash.
Bees.
Thank you so much. Can I have the mic?
I don't know whether I should now be insects.
According to Professor John, honey is derived from dash.
Bees.
Bees. Thank you so much. Well, did you hear insect?
I heard insect.
Insect. Did you hear it?
I heard insect. Do I put insect and then bees in back?
I think there was a
I
few
heard
of
insects
insects called bees.
called bees.
Okay. If you write insect or insects, it will be incorrect automatically. Now, the correct answer is this, right? Because this is what gives us honey. But this is possibly incorrect, because it says it's gotten from the insect called the bee.
Oh, I didn't hear that called the bee.
Called
Okay,
the bees.
The bees.
You may have heard plural version of the bee because the mic is loud enough. But in IELTS, the S will be swallowed as such that if you write bees, you stand a great chance of losing the mark. So what do?
Yes.
Put your S in bracket. So in case the S is not required, it will be ignored. If the S is required, of course, you are correct. Okay. Please, are we picking something from this? All right. So let's proceed. This is you applying the bracket trick when you're treating one word answer. Right? Apply the bracket trick when you are working on one word answer, right? Now let me ask, very simple question. When you are working on a section that says no more than one word and or a number, and you are treating one word answer, what does the bracket trick focus on? What function does it play on one word answers? When you are applying the bracket trick to one word answers, such as this, right? What is it trying to consider? What is the consideration for applying the bracket trick on one word? You don't understand the
No, I
question?
understand the question. I'm looking for the right. I know what it does. I don't know how to say what it does.
Just say it in whatever it is. The bracket trick being applied to one word, such as this and here. What is the bracket trick trying to consider?
I know it has to do with the plural, singular aspect of the word, right? I don't know how to.
Do you have a better way of expressing? Because that's the answer, but she's not putting it right.
Yeah, of course, it's the answer, right? I think it makes sure, the bracket tricks makes sure that,
Use your mic, I can't hear you.
Okay, so the bracket tricks makes sure that, I'm looking for the word, but let me just speak in plain terms. It makes sure that you're not tricked out of the right answer. Right? by way of speech, I did not comprehend quite well.
Okay. What a bracket trick is trying to consider under or in one word answer is singular and plural. It tries to factor in if the word should be in singular or plural. So if it's supposed to be in singular, then putting the plural version in brackets still leaves the singular version that way. Do you understand this? But if the plural version is required, then that bracket would then suffice. Please, do you understand this? Now let's proceed. What else can we say, and how else can we apply the bracket trick under a section that says no more than one word and or a number?
Does that apply to past and present tense?
No.
It doesn't.
Now, another scenario or situation where or when you can apply the bracket trick under a section that says no more than one word and or a number is when you're treating date of birth. When you're treating date of birth during your listening test, you would notice that sometimes the format might be So, the format might be DD, MM, and YYY. DD, MM, and YYY. Some of the time you notice that it will be MM, DD, YYY. DD means what?
It means the
MM means what?
month.
And then year, right? Perfect. Then it could be in this format: month, day, and year, right? When you are treating date of birth, when do you apply the bracket trick? Let's assume you are taking on a listening test practice, and you hear something like, "Hello, my name is Tilda. I'm calling from Massachusetts, United States of America. I would like to make inquiries about the IELTS. I'm interested in writing the IELTS anytime soon, so I would like to know the available test dates and the requirements and procedure to get enrolled for it. So I'm wondering if I'm speaking to the right person." "Oh yes, Tilda, you are. My name is Benedict, and this is the IELTS Prep Center, where we enroll people for IELTS and also have them tutored to get prepared for the IELTS exam. We'll take you through all the information and queries that you're bringing up. But first and foremost, we'd like to take some information about you. We'd like to begin by asking, what's your name, please?" "All right, my name is Matilda Ojo." "Okay, so how do you spell Ojo? I'd like to take a note of that." OJOR. "Okay, thank you so much. So, Matilda, may I please know your date of birth, please?" "All right, I was born on August the 6th. August the 6th. Okay, so here is the date of birth given by Matilda. Now, if you are treating a section that says no more than one word and or a number, and the audio has just given you August the 6th, is it correct or incorrect?
You said the audio has given us August the 6th, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't give us year.
Yes.
So if that's what the audio gives, then it's correct.
So is this a correct answer following this?
Yes, of course. It can be written that way.
Thank you so much. The truth is, in IELTS, most times the year is not required. Don't worry about the year. Just focus on the month and the day, or the day and the month. It depends. Okay, so let's get back to business. If the audio has just given us the date of birth to be August the 6th, if you write this as your answer, automatically you're going to be wrong. Very wrong. The reason is simple. Instruction says no more than one word. How many words do we have here? We have 2 words. Do you understand this? We have 2 words and a number. So this has gone against.
Wait, sorry. When I said it's correct based on what the audio gave, I wasn't implying that that's how we would write it.
So what was I asking for? The answer, or?
Sorry.
I was asking for the answer. So if you write this as your answer under this instruction, automatically it's going to be wrong. Okay? So you are required to follow the instruction strictly. So what would you write? Tilda, what would you write?
August is 08, right? So it's going to be 08, 06.
0806. Nice. What would you write?
I'll go with 86.
86.
86.
86. That's 8 this way and 6 this way. Is that?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Alright, so if you were to write your answer and you write this is incorrect. This is also incorrect. Why is it incorrect? Instruction says no more than one number, and you have written 2 numbers. You have disobeyed a simple instruction. Right? So what you have to do simply would be August
Bracket.
6.
Oh, okay, you don't need to put the 6 in bracket.
One word and a number. One word and a number.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Do you
And
understand?
it's right there.
One word.
I
August.
even looked at it again. At some point, I was like,
One word, August. A number, 6. Right? So we have to eliminate they, because it would constitute 2 words, and that would be contrary to the instruction. Do you understand that? So you need to listen. If it says August the 6th, your answer should be August 6. Now, writing August 6 does not give us a perfect answer yet. Has not given us a perfect answer yet. How do we pronounce this word? 6th. How do you pronounce it? 6th. Great. Pronouncing it as 6th is correct, especially for the fact that you are not a native English speaker, so you can pronounce it that way. You will understand. But a native English speaker will not pronounce it as 6th. Never. It's not possible. I wasn't a science student, but I know in science there is something like this. And you know you're a science student, right?
I used to be.
I know. When you were,
what did you learn?
when you were, what does this represent? What is it called?
Infinity.
Pardon?
You know infinity.
You mean the car?
Not the car.
Are you a science student? Okay, we are from the same.
No, you're saying never. Because you don't want to attempt.
What do you call this?
Do you know I never saw that as a science student?
I don't understand.
Okay, I'm not seeing well theta and beta and alpha. I didn't see the. I saw double L, so I was wondering.
So you had, or you, because it still exists. So there is something called theta, right? Hmm? In English, this theta is a sound.
The sound.
A sound, yes, in English. What sound does it give us? In phonetics. What sound does it give you? What's the name of your English teacher? Alright, let's go back to business. This theta in English will give you the sound.
Or not.
No. That's why when you are saying thank you, thank you, think, thought,
Oh.
wealth, right? Native speaker can never say sixth. It's not possible. You might hear something like sixth. Sixth. Do you understand? Now, when you are saying sixth, and there is a word that comes afterwards, after it, you won't have time to emphasize on it. This X will swallow. So when she said, I was born on August the 6th, it is possible she said 6th. So if you write just August 6th, thank you, you may be wrong. So what do you do? TH in bracket. Please, do you understand? So putting it in bracket will place you safe. Just in case they want it, they should take it. But if they don't want it, it's in bracket, it's optional. So you might just ignore it. Right? Okay. Another scenario where you can apply the bracket trick when you're treating a section that says no more than one word and or a number is when you're treating money. When you are treating a question that has to do with money, I like to look at these three currencies. The first one, the first symbol is called what? Dollar. The second symbol, pounds or pound. The third symbol, euro. Now, these are the popular currencies you get to see during your IELTS exam. Okay. When you are treating money, how do we write $75.15? $75.15.
How do you write 75?
How can I write $75.15?
75. Oh, the sign should come in front.
Okay, sign first. 75.
Dot 15.
Dot 15.
$75.15.
$75.15. Is that the final answer?
I think so.
You're thinking, you're not sure?
I believe so.
That's correct.
Correct? Okay. So this is correct. This is how to write $75.15. It's just equivalent to you writing your Naira figure. You're saying 75 Naira, 15. Right? Now, how does the bracket trick come in? Bracket trick can only come in when your question paper does not show or indicate anything dollars, whether in word spelled or a symbol. Please, do you understand this? Your question paper, if your question paper does not show anything such as dollar symbol or the dollar spelled in word or written in word, if it's not there on your question paper, then the audio would give it to you and then you're meant to write. So if audio says, for those of you traveling from Massachusetts to Ohio during peak hours, your fee has increased slightly. It's now going for $75.15. It's now going for $75.15. Now, on your question paper, there is nothing like, for those of you your fee, your transport fare is now dash. If you have this on your question, all you need to write on your answer sheet will just be $75.15 only. You don't need to bring in this again, because on your answer paper there won't be this symbol. So you might feel Okay, let me put it so that the examiner will know that it's money I'm talking about. If you do it, your answer will be incorrect. Do you understand this? It will be incorrect because it is already written on your question paper. Do you understand? So you're meant to write only the things that are not on the question paper as your answer. But anything that is on your question paper, please don't add it to your answer sheet as part of it. If not, it will annul your answer. Alright. So at this point, you are only meant to write $75.15 as your answer. Please do not write the dollar symbol. If on your question paper also you have the amount to pay in fares, especially for those traveling from Massachusetts to Ohio, whose currency is in dollars, will now be paying $75.15. So your question paper says whose currency is in dollars spelled. So when you're writing $75.15, don't write dollar symbol. Don't write it in a word form. Just write what? What are you to write? 75.15. That's all. Because it is written on your question paper. So the only time you can write the symbol or the word and it will become correct is when it is not written anywhere on your question paper. If it's not written anywhere on your question paper, you can write it if the audio says it to you. So when you write it, you can then project the bracket trick. Please, do you understand? Matilda, do you understand? Now, let's look at Alright, let's look at time. When a question or when some questions have got to do with time in IELTS, under section that says no more than one word and or a number, I would like to ask us, between 01:30 and 1:30, then 01.30, then 1.30. Between these two formats, which do you think is correct?
I think the first two on this side.
The one on the left?
Yes, the left hand side.
Alright, the one on the left is correct to you. Okay. Alright, so which do you think is correct? The one on the left or the one on the right?
No, firstly, you don't write time the way you wrote it on the right.
Therefore,
No,
it's correct. Alright. IELTS.
Why look like one kind your teacher?
IELTS. IELTS always amaze people. Okay. This is a popular American template. This is what you should look out for in IELTS. This. Right? Now, another question. What is the difference between these two time templates? What is the difference between the two?
Just the double digits at the beginning.
The same thing. That's the only difference, right? By appearance. That's the only difference.
My appearance.
Right? Is there any other difference?
Okay, no, wait. I think one is AM, one is no PM, right? It could be like maybe the other one is like 1:30 AM. This one is 1:30 PM. I believe so.
Any counter?
Well, I still stick to the fact that the only difference is the numbers.
Double digit and single digit.
Yeah, double digit and single digit because
Okay. Double digit and single digit. Correct. AM and PM.
Go on.
We cannot ascertain that yet. Right? We can't. Alright, so what's the difference between the two? This is for 24 hours clocking. This is for 12 hours. Do we understand this? So, the 24 hours, of course, comes with double digits, right? What time is this? What time is this?
that was 12.
12
midnight.
AM.
Yeah.
12 AM, right? What time is this?
1:30 AM.
1:30 AM, right? Do you agree with that?
Yes.
What time is this?
1:45 AM.
1:35 PM.
1:35. It's 1:35 AM.
PM. It's 1:35 PM.
Okay.
1:35 PM.
Why is it PM?
Because it's following the 24 hours
Okay.
clock. Yes. Right. Yes.
When it is before this 1:35, what is the hour before this 13?
1 to 12.
12. What time of day is this?
Yes. 12 noon. 12 noon. 12 PM. 12 noon.
Always do you agree with that? So this is 12 noon. This is 12 PM. So an hour after, or an hour 35 minutes after, it gives was still PM, right? So of course here, this is 24 hours. It comes with double digits, whereas 12 hours has the standard or default numbers. Now you can easily tell the time of the day if it is 24 hours, whether it is AM or PM, right? You can easily tell. But can you tell if it is AM or PM under 12 hours?
Under 12 hours.
Clocking.
Yes, you should be able to. Yes, you can.
You can?
Mm.
Okay. If you can. So what time is this? What time of day is this?
Under 12 hours.
Mm-hmm. Please, you can use your mic. Because I'm finding it difficult to hear.
Under 12 hours. Let me go back to my clock. I'm looking at the clock. Under 12 hours. Under 12 hours is going to be, I think, still 1:30 a.m. Am I confusing myself?
Under 12 hours, you can't tell. You cannot. Unless it has AM or PM. That's the only time you can tell whether it's morning or afternoon. Because the same time, the same 1:30 that appears in the morning is what you're going to see in the afternoon. It doesn't change like the 24 hours, where if you see 1:30, you know that this is morning. Then if it is afternoon, it's going to be 13:30. Is that correct? So you never can tell, except when you find AM or PM around. Now, how do we apply the bracket trick? The bracket trick can be applied following the same conditions of applying it for money. The bracket trick can be applied following the same condition as when you are working on money. What's the condition to apply bracket trick when it has to do with money?
The first condition is if like when you're listening, or if your instructor,
Narrator?
the narrator, thank you, pronounces the currency or states the currency, then you don't have to put it in your answer again. But if he doesn't, and it shows, hold on, I'm mixing it up. Yes, if he pronounces it, yeah, you don't have to write it. No, I'm mixing it up, sorry. If the narrator should pronounce the symbol or state the symbol, you put it at the beginning with your bracket, so far it doesn't show on the question paper. Or if it shows on the question paper, then you don't put it anymore.
Right. Now it makes sense. So the only condition to apply the bracket trick on questions that require money is if there is nothing on the question paper that represents the currency, whether spelled or in symbol. If there is no such thing on the question paper, then that's when you can write it and apply it in bracket. But if it is written anywhere on your question paper, whether in a symbol form or spelled, you are not required to write it as part of your answer, right? The same thing applies to time. What should it be? If your time tells you the time of the day, whether morning, afternoon, or evening or night, you don't need to write AM or PM. Do you understand this? If the question has morning or afternoon or AM or PM on your question paper, you do not need to write AM or PM as part of your answer. It is only when it's not written anywhere to indicate the time of the day or showing you AM or PM, but the audio now says it. That's when you can choose to write the AM or PM. Then please remember to put them in bracket. Correct. So let's get started with no more than 2 words and or a number. No more than 2 words and or a number. What does that mean? How do you interpret it? How can we interpret no more than 2 words and or a number?
More than 2 words.
Please use your mind.
So you could have, you should have either 2 words, 2 words and a number, or yeah. So you should have 2 words. You could have just 2 words. You could have 2 words and a number, or you could have just a number.
You go with interpretation. All right, that's correct. 50%. 50% correct. Now, no more than 2 words and or a number does not mean your answer should be 2 words, around 2 words and the number around 2. No,
It
no.
would still be 1 word.
Your answer can be 1 word.
Yeah.
It could be 1 word and a number. It can also be 2 words.
And a number.
It could as well be 2 words and a number. Then it can also be just a number without a word. Please, do you understand this? So, if you understand that no more than 2 words and or a number accommodates 1 word answers, 2 words answers, as well as a number, then you are on the right track. Because like she interpreted earlier, she was just talking about 2 words, 2 words. So if you have a section that says no more than 2 words and or a number and you're busy writing 2 words, 2 words, there is a high tendency that 60% of those 2 words will be incorrect. So if you can interpret this correctly, how then can you apply the bracket trick? Let's assume you heard the answer from the audio and it says polished shoes. Polished shoes. Now here we have a 2-word answer, right? And that conforms with the instruction, right? But writing this does not give you 100% assurance that it's correct. It is possible that just 1 word out of this is what may be required to be the perfect answer. So you need to learn to understand what to do to apply the bracket trick. So what do you do? Polished shoes. One of the words there is not the main idea. What word might that be? Polished. What's the rule of polished? Here, what's the rule? It is an adjective. That's the role it's playing. The shoes, what's the role? A noun. It is the name of whatever object, right? Then polished is describing what has been done to the shoes, right? Or the status of the shoes. So if polished is just a supporting word, that means it's not the main idea. So the main idea here is shoes. Therefore, all you need to do is apply your bracket around the polished and then leave shoes open. So when you do this, you are still in consonance with the instruction, right? Because instruction says no more than 2 words, which means 1 word answer can fly, 2 words can fly. So right here, we have 2 word answer, right? But then, we are trying to lay emphasis on shoes as our main answer. Then we use the bracket trick to make polished optional. So when the examiner is marking your script, is if what they want, if what they have earmarked to be the correct answer to that question happens to be just shoes, the examiner will just ignore polished because it is in brackets and you are good to go. If they want both polished and shoes to be the correct answer, polish is here, shoes is also here, so you are. But if you write polished shoes, and the answer is just shoes alone, this will be incorrect. Do you understand? That is the way to go and how to apply the brackets trick. Okay? Alright. What about a section that says no more than 3 words? What about a section that says no more than 3 words and or a number? How can you interpret this instruction?
Okay, it could be 1 word, it could be 2, it could be 3.
It could be,
It could also be a number.
it could be 3 words. It can also be 3 words and a number. Then it can be a number without a word. Is that correct? So how do we apply the bracket trick? The bracket trick here can be applied when you hear an answer such as the nagging parrot. The nagging parrot is a 3-word answer. And the 3-word is also in line with the instruction, right? But it doesn't mean that your answer must be 3 words. So you want to look for the best way to deploy the bracket trick. So what you do, identify what the word they stands for, identify what nagging represents, and then parrot is what? So they as a word is what? An article, right? Nagging is what? An adjective. Parrot is what? A noun. So, of the 3 words, the receiver of every other thing right here is what? Parrot, the noun. That means the other 2 words are what? Supporting words. They are not the main idea right there. So, since they are not the main idea, you can apply the bracket trick just to play safe. Do we understand this? So, the bracket trick under 3 words answers should be applied individually. Please do not put 2 words in one bracket. Do not put 2 words in one bracket. So put 2 different words in 2 separate brackets. But remember, your main answer must always be left open. Do not ever put your main answer in bracket. If you do that, automatically it's no longer your main answer. Do you understand? What does the bracket do when it's around the word? It makes that word optional. So right here, if what the examiner wants as the main answer, as the answer to the question is just nagging parrot, this they, because of the bracket, would be ignored. If the answer happens to be the parrot without the adjective, the bracket will make it invisible. Now, if the examiner wants only parrots without the nagging, automatically they are in brackets, and of course they are optional. But if the examiner wants the 3 words, the nagging parrot, perfect. Everything is in there. Please, do we have any question? Elvis, do you have any question?
I think
All right. So this is where we shall call it.
Sorry, what if you have like 2 nouns? Is that possible? Or what if you have like 2 nouns?
If you have 2 nouns, let's take for instance, we have this. The green garden. Do you have 2 nouns here?
Green and garden.
Green and garden are nouns.
But green is not a noun. It's green. Green is not a noun.
The garden is a noun. What's a garden as a noun?
Say that again.
What's garden as a noun?
It's a place.
Name of a place. What's green?
I think it's an adjective.
Name of a color.
It's okay.
Is green not name of a
Okay.
color?
It is.
It's name of a secondary color.
So the color.
Right? Do you agree with that, Peter? Green is the name of a color. So arguably is a noun also, right? But in this context, it is not a noun, it's an adjective. It's describing the color of the garden. So even here as a noun, it's not playing the role of a noun. So it has to be the what's in the word, an adjective. Do you understand? Has that answered your question? Correct.
In my head, I was having like Mary's phone, John's ball.
John's ball. So, no, it won't work that way.
The boy's bag.
No.
Okay.
So, boy and the bag, right?
Yes.
No, it won't work that way.
Okay, I hope so.
No. Alright, so this is all about the trick. The tips we shall continue with tomorrow. You'll be here tomorrow?